composition where you're a quarter or a third of this program. And then you play together with the others, or you interact. And that was the most heavy part of conditioning education, also for ourselves. The first 3 weeks, the normal viewers or people just said, hello, hello. So we had the hello program of people just finding their body on TV. So you had a lot of, let's say, people in Latvia or in Russia, when they pulled down the TV program, it was the first time they had themselves on TV. So that wasn't really creative on the beginning. But the thing of doing that for 3 months and having regular work also with these piazzettas, these different artist groups who first came, we want to propaganda, represent ourselves strongly, you know, this old political thinking, got into this interactive thing so that you had a topic like a discussion. They proposed something and then the others were reacting, and so it was very funny also from what is a serious problem, what is not a serious problem. We had this Moby Dick program, which was quite interesting, which was a scientific program, and we connected, I don't know, the research, polar research ship from Antarctica, or I don't know, anywhere, and we had this
pseudo-scientific program.
Well, yeah, okay, this is what I'm saying,
popular science.
Serious or not serious, and then you have this captain or this moderator who was a scientist, bit trying to focus the call-ins, and 11 o'clock in the morning there was a 10-year-old kid phoning.
And asking about climate change.
And
that time already.
Not really saying,
maybe this
who are you
for climate change?
So you had on this, so it's in a normal talk show, you have experts and everything, and then there's this super expert sitting in that ship, and a kid of 10 years is phoning because the mother just went out shopping so she could do a free call.
But I mean, Al Gore got that idea from that format.
Exactly. I mean, Space TV was also taken from this assignment. We had Space TV on Piazza Virtuale. We had the first thing because we had the feed-in of the space cameras in our Moby Dick and space program, and then they took it over as a permanent program, Space TV it's called now, I don't know exactly.
How to drink coffee on a space shuttle.
Yeah, exactly. So they mix documentary with live feed-ins, but they also have DJs playing, and so this is...
But what I found out is that kind of artists tend to download. I mean, they are not really interested. Most artists are not interested in any dialogue. They are very interested to download their message to as broad as possible audience, and this is why they are attracted to TV. But if you put them in a dialogue situation, normally it creates problems. And this is what we found out.
I suppose with the format of it as well, where there was the fact that maybe artists, they're not used to having to put their stuff in there as part of, with other things happening on screen as well. Was that a problem with some of them, or? Yeah,
well, in terms of attention, yes. If they only have a quarter screen, of course, 3/4 of the screen is left to something else, which is normally a dialogue on their work, which kind of is a very direct feedback, which they are really not used to cope with.
So it's a solo guitar problem, and then you have to switch to the rhythm guitar or something else. And I think this is one of the main things. You have the monologue, the dialogue, and the multilogue, but you could also say the individual responsibility of having a position, the group work, which is kind of the incestual things of we like the same music, kind of interest group, what we have on the internet, all these panels or interest groups, which is a kind of very homogeneous kind of liking the same music, same clothes, etc. And the network, which means you're confronted with something else. And I think on the artistic skills of today, you need all three. And at the time we were doing it, there wasn't a public consciousness by the artists that the group work as well as the network had the same value. Because network was connected to social and to politics in many cases, and not to an artistic creation on network. Today you have a lot of network artists, you have people who are doing web projects, etc., where it's very clear, but where they lose also the individual identity, because they're creating frameworks.
I think
interest groups or etc., which are designed, and then they use the monologue in some way. So how to remix these three things again?
What's really
all three there? Yeah.
What I personally find also quite interesting is that many of the problems the situations we experienced there were things that are quite important for the internet today. Leading to all sorts of copyright, ownership, collaborative working. These are all things that we kind of explored there, which later became a constant thing on the internet, and also pointing to lots of projects like YouTube, to the community stuff, which later on the internet happened as a unifying medium for what we already explored there.
One fact in that discussion I think is important, that artistic expression is always artistic expression. Doesn't matter when it was or from that time or today. And artistic expression is very simple. It expresses themselves as poetry. It expresses themselves as a music piece or an audio piece. It expresses themselves as in an object or in a form. And it's if the artist is present in that situation, so it is always linked somehow to him till to a performative format. Yeah? And nevertheless, everything what is seen as art has a certain form, and it has a certain aesthetic, and it has a certain format which is clear. And that clashes diametral towards technology-driven expression, because these are two worlds which are not necessarily fitting to each other. So that project, in the first time, in my perception, pushed the boundaries in such an extreme way that the artists which have been involved, like Mike, Benjamin, myself, or Salvatore, or a lot of others, have been exposed to a very intensive range of possibilities. I mean, we have been commanding satellites and also locally checking cables and been exposed to the whole production circle and output circle of television. And if you know what does that mean, you can understand that from a person which perceives himself as an artist is taken away a substantial quantity of energy and time towards such a production. And what is left is as an artist expression, is very much reduced or is a leftover from that existing power which you have. So that is one crucial point which has been always risen against us from the artist community, that actually that was not an art project, which I can understand, because it was not the classical perceived art project per se as an art project. Artists in the time did videotapes, and they used the art metaphor. Artists did performances, they used the performance metaphor. Artists did concerts, they expressed concerts. So we have been the first group which merged the two worlds and tried to do the best out of it. But the overall art concept was actually what Benjamin tried to say, is that we said, not we are the artists, the public should be the artist, and the public should experience what does it mean to be the artist, and what does it mean to take responsibility on the screen or on a certain time, which is normally edited and compressed and then sent to as in a form of entertainment, to experience them on themselves.